1971 was a weird year for television. While some shows were finding their groove, others were quietly erasing characters like they never existed. No explanations, no tearful goodbyes, just poof, gone. Today we're counting down 15 sitcom characters and plot lines that vanished into thin air around 1971, leaving fans scratching their heads and wondering if they imagined the whole thing. Some of these disappearances are downright bizarre. Let's kick things off with All in the Family, a show that tackled every controversial topic under the sun, but apparently couldn't handle keeping track of its own storylines. In the early episodes, there were hints that Gloria and Mike were dealing with a pregnancy situation, and then radio silence. The writers just moved on. No baby, no miscarriage mention, nothing. It's like someone in the writer's room said, "You know what? Too complicated. Let's just pretend we never wrote that." And everyone else went, "Sure, sounds good." Classic sitcom amnesia at its finest. Here's one that's so obscure, you'd be forgiven for not remembering it at all. There was this running bit with Fred Rutherford in his car that appeared in a couple of early episodes and then vanished faster than your motivation on a Monday morning. Was it funny? We'll never know, because it disappeared before it had a chance to land. Sometimes shows throw stuff at the wall to see what sticks, and this particular joke apparently slid right off and into the garbage bin of forgotten sitcom history. Hey, if you're loving this trip down the memory hole of forgotten sitcom plots, do me a favor and hit that like button, and subscribe if you want more deep dives into TV's weirdest moments. Trust me, we're just getting started with the weirdness. Before Happy Days became the nostalgia juggernaut we all know and love, it existed as a pilot called Love and the Happy Days in 1971. And in that pilot, Mrs. Cunningham had a mother. A whole entire mother. But by the time the show got picked up for a full series in 1974, Grandma had mysteriously disappeared. No explanation, no funeral, nothing. Did she move to Florida? Did she cease to exist? Did the Cunninghams just decide they didn't need another generation cluttering up the house? The world may never know. Speaking of that 1971 pilot, Richie originally had a different sister situation going on. The family dynamics were all kinds of different before the show found its footing. But when Happy Days properly launched, the sister from the pilot was gone, replaced by Joni, who became the iconic little sister we all remember. So what happened to the original sister? She got retconned out of existence, which is honestly the sitcom equivalent of witness protection, here one day, never spoken of again the next. Before Maude got her own legendary spin-off show, she appeared as Edith's cousin on All in the Family. And in her early appearances, there was a mention of a husband. Not the husband she'd have in her own show, mind you, but a completely different unseen spouse who was apparently hanging around somewhere. Then, poof, gone. By the time Maude's character was more developed, that husband had been completely replaced by Walter. No divorce, no death, just a complete rewrite of her marital status. Must be nice to just swap out spouses when the storyline calls for it. The Mary Tyler Moore Show was usually pretty tight with its continuity, but even they had a moment of, wait, what? In an early episode, Lou Grant briefly left WJM for another job opportunity. It was treated like a big deal, a whole dramatic arc, and then he was just back, and nobody ever mentioned it again. No explanation of why he came back, no follow-up on what happened with the other job, just Lou back at his desk, yelling at Maria and pretending the whole thing never happened. We love Lou, but even he wasn't immune to the sitcom memory wipe. Sue Ann Nivens, the happy homemaker herself, was one of the best additions to the Mary Tyler Moore Show when she joined in 1973. But back in the show's earlier days, around the 1971 to 72 season, there were references to her having a husband. This mysterious Mr. Nivens was mentioned but never seen, and by the time Sue Ann became a regular character, he had completely vanished from the narrative. Was there a divorce? Did he run away? Did Sue Ann's aggressive flirtatiousness finally drive him to flee the state? The show never bothered to tell us, and honestly, single Sue Ann was so much more fun anyway. The Brady Bunch is famous for its wholesome family dynamics, but apparently, in the early days, someone thought it would be a good idea to give Mike Brady a little romantic subplot with a girl next door character. Yeah, Mike Brady. Married Mike Brady. in a show about a blended family. Who greenlit this? Thankfully, someone with sense made this disappear faster than a teenager when chores need doing. The subplot was quietly dropped, and we all pretended it never happened, which is probably for the best because the last thing the Brady Bunch needed was to be a show about infidelity. Before we continue, quick reminder to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. We're counting down the most bizarre character disappearances of 1971, and it only gets weirder from here. All in the Family loved to pack the bunker house with relatives for maximum conflict and comedy. Early on, there were references to Mike Stivick's grandmother still being around. She was mentioned in dialogue and treated like she was part of the family landscape, and then she just wasn't. No funeral episode, no mention of her passing, just a complete erasure from the family tree. Did she move away? Did Mike forget he had a grandmother? Did the writers decide one opinionated older person was enough with Archie around? Whatever the reason, Grandma Stivick joined the ranks of relatives who got disappeared by sitcom convenience. Okay, this one's a bit different because the character didn't disappear, but the original actor did, and we need to talk about it. D'Urville Martin played Lionel Jefferson in the very first episode of All in the Family, and then Mike Evans took over the role from episode 2 onward. Now, recasting happens all the time in television, and what makes this notable is how seamlessly they made the switch without any acknowledgement. One week it's one Lionel, the next week it's another Lionel, and everyone in the Bunker household is supposed to just roll with it. Mike Evans made the role iconic, so it worked out. But imagine being D'Urville Martin, watching your character become a beloved staple of television with someone else's face. The Partridge Family had a few characters floating around the edges in its early days, and Mrs. Wainwright was one of them. She appeared briefly as a neighbor or family friend, seemed like she might become a recurring presence, and then just evaporated into thin air. The show didn't need her, apparently, because they had enough going on with the family's musical adventures and Reuben's schemes. Mrs. Wainwright joined the long list of sitcom neighbors who got written out when the writers realized they didn't actually have anything for them to do. Better to disappear than to become the character everyone fast-forwards through. Wait, Florence had a second child? Yes. Well, kind of. In the early episodes of The Odd Couple, there were references to Florence having another kid besides the one we occasionally saw, but somewhere along the way, that second child was quietly erased from existence. Maybe the writers realized they had enough going on with Felix and Oscar's dynamic without complicating things with Florence's family life. Maybe they forgot they wrote it in the first place. Either way, that second kid disappeared faster than Oscar's chances of ever living in a clean apartment. Poor forgotten child, lost to the sitcom void. The Odd Couple went through quite a few character adjustments in the early days, and Gordon "Gordy" Clump was one of the casualties. He appeared in the early episodes as one of the poker buddies, part of the regular gang that hung around Oscar's apartment. And then, without warning, he just stopped showing up. No explanation, no Gordy moved away, just an empty chair at the poker table that nobody acknowledged. The other poker buddies carried on like Gordy never existed. It's the ultimate ghosting. Literally being written out of your friend group with no explanation. Harsh. Kenny was a friend of the Partridge Kids who appeared in the early episodes of the first season. He seemed set up to be a recurring character, maybe even a regular member of the extended Partridge universe. But then Kenny disappeared, never to be mentioned again. Did he move away? Did the Partridges ghost him? Was he a victim of the show's budget cuts? We'll never know. The Partridge Family bus drove away, and Kenny was left standing at the curb, wondering what he did wrong. The show didn't need him once they figured out their groove, so Kenny became another footnote in sitcom history, a character who almost mattered, but didn't quite make the cut. And here we are at number 1, the king of all sitcom disappearances, the character so famously erased from existence that it spawned the term Chuck Cunningham syndrome. Chuck was the older brother of Richie Cunningham, appearing in the 1971 pilot and the first couple of seasons of Happy Days. He was a basketball star, a whole entire brother, and then, poof, gone. Not away at college, not moved out, just completely erased from the family. In later seasons, Richie and Joni become only children, and Chuck was retconned out of existence so thoroughly that the Cunninghams acted like they never had another son. No pictures on the wall, no mentions at Thanksgiving, nothing. Chuck Cunningham disappeared so completely that he became the poster child for sitcom characters who were simply too inconvenient to keep around. It's honestly impressive how thoroughly they erased him. Poor Chuck. Lost to the sitcom witness protection program, never to be heard from again. And there you have it. 15 characters and plot lines that vanished from sitcoms around 1971 like they never existed. Some were replaced, some were forgotten, and some were just too inconvenient for the writers to deal with anymore. The wild thing is, this kept happening for decades in sitcoms. Writers would introduce characters or plot lines, realize they didn't work, and just pretend they never happened. It's the ultimate retcon, and honestly, sometimes it works. Most of these shows were better off without these characters, but it's still fun to remember them and wonder what happened in that parallel universe where Chuck Cunningham got to stay. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Drop a comment below and let me know. Are there any other mysteriously disappearing sitcom characters you remember? And check out the other videos for more deep dives into TV's strangest moments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.